Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Saturday, the 16th of August, 2025, the year BSV comes alive. Branch your threads, expand your mind with treechat.ai, or your post put on chain. Right, let's see what we've got today. This is going to be an absolutely epic show. Connor Murray from Bitcoin Beyond wrote, running Teranode, and this was followed by all the big dogs. Degan, Kurt, Gorilla Pool, Brendan Lee, Light, gearing up to run big Teranode, probably the biggest deployment in the world at this time. CSW says Teranode is live, and then obviously just dealing with all the trash from all the shitcoiners that don't want people to know what's really going on. Ziggy said doing more transactions per second with Teranode on our laptops than most of the networks can do at all. We are testing on our Teranode test network. We'll be opening this up in the coming weeks. And we've got some comments on there from Alex Farvel. Gorilla Pool saying in the coming weeks, Gorilla Pool will switch mining operations over from SV Node to Teranode. They're switching it over. It is going to be epic. Degan says we got some Metanet desktop release. Far fewer permissions and interruptions. Windows distribution is now signed by BSV Association certificate. So onboarding should be smoother. I mean, wow. That is just wow. Windows distribution. So if that is that Microsoft Windows, whoa. I mean, they would have paid a lot for that. He also says metanetapps.com for apps to try out. Use this wallet. I mean, it is coming thick and fast. Beautiful. Looks like we've got a music platform here by Project Babbage saying Tempo Music. We'll have a look at that. Really great post here from Brian Doherty being promoted to the BSV Association. He's got a place on their board, I think. Adriana D. Kruger submits resignation as a member of the Federal Reserve Board, effective 8th of August 2025. And somebody pointed out, what's this? Federal Reserve permanently closed? Like, what's going on? Got some little posts here that we'll go over. CSW has written a Substack. If we've got time, we'll touch on that. We've got some 365 days of Bitcoin history, and then we'll finish with the Kellenschweller countdown. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong, them transactions flying free. Just wait for the Teranode, you'll surely see.
All right, here we go. So literally, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw this, and all the other big dogs building the Teranode team. Finally, after all this time, during the Kellenschweller countdown, it is coming. It is coming. So we're going to read through these. Connor Murray, I believe, was the first one to post here, running Teranode, and for anybody and done on the 15th of August, which we know was the anniversary of the Nixon shock on the 15th of August 1971, the anniversary of VE Day, which effectively made the end of the Second World War official. We had Albert Pike's letter to Mazzini outlining how it would take 3 world wars to bring about a totalitarian one world government, a new world order, and loads of things on this date. And now we have running Teranode in the same way that Hal Finney famously posted out running Bitcoin. Running Teranode is what Bitcoin is really about. It's a shame that Hal couldn't be here to witness this, but anybody who is in Bitcoin knows the significance of what this is. Teranode is what truly Bitcoin was actually about, because Bitcoin being the only way to commoditize data, Satoshi Nakamoto didn't have a choice in how to construct the concept. The real genius of Bitcoin is the scaling of it, because you wouldn't be able to have a world currency, a world money, without this scaling technology. This is what Bitcoin is really about. That's how exciting this is. Absolutely huge. Degan has also replied to that saying, running Bitcoin. Oh my goodness me! He said someone else has said here. How much does that cost? You, if you don't mind me asking, thinking of doing it. How long do you think 100 terabytes of space would last me? Degan said, I'm running it on my laptop on Terra Testnet just to help the team debug their public release configure and guidelines. You're considering becoming a miner? That's awesome. Would be great to see more of those. Setup is super simple despite a complete lack of experience running node infrastructure. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. Kurt replied to Gorilla Pool also saying, running Bitcoin. Whoa. And it was Gorilla Pool that replied to Degan saying, running Bitcoin. Brendan Lee has also said, running Bitcoin and testing. And Light said, this is what really matters. He said, gearing up to run a big Teranode, probably the biggest deployment in the world at this time. Like, nobody in the Bitcoin space appreciates just how big this is. It is absolutely huge. It looks like Perrin Selena said, do you mean significantly increase the hash? And Light said, no CPU. Yeah, because Teranode is a scaling implementation. It's not actually really anything to do with hashing, but you can use the process to mine. I mean, the fundamentals of this project are being kept closely under wraps because we know the deep state want to steal this technology, and it's been what, like 7 years in the making since 2018. Like, whoa, it is huge. CSW confirmed it when he said Teranode is live. That's definitely going to be the title of this show. And that was in response to some of these shitcoiners. I'll just have a look at this thread. He said, Proletario said, this further proves what Donald Trump did when he acquired Bitcoin. I do not know why people thought he bought it. Some months ago. It was confiscated. One reason being is that it's connected to the criminal underworld. I did multiple articles on this. He said launched in 2009 by the mysterious figure Satoshi Nakamoto. Like, he still hasn't figured it out. And he's saying launched in 2009. I mean, 2009. We're 2025 and they still haven't tracked him down or figured out who it is. Give me a break. Bitcoin was quickly adopted for its pseudonymity and untraceable transactions, embedding dark web operations from the start. Although we know that's not right. By 2011, sites like Silk Road used it for their escrow in illegal trades, including human trafficking. Look at that. Networks that auctioned victims or laundered proceeds of sex slave rings. Before mainstream adoption around 2013, underground forums and early adopters in cypherpunk circles exploited it for anonymous payments in the global traffic and got far predating a public hype. You need to know this. Bitcoin's foundational SHA-256 hashing algorithm, lifted directly from the NSA's SHA-2 suite, development in the early 2000s for the cryptographic dominance and deployed in Bitcoin's 2008 white paper to enable untraceable decentralized control systems. He's talking shit here. Aligned with agency goals of surveillance surveillance resistant finance or covert ops. DARPA, that's the misdirection play, while they funded post-Bitcoin blockchain probes like vulnerability hunts and military messaging apps. The genesis traces to the NSA's crypto. Oh, this guy's talking absolute shite. Absolute shite. Oh, there we go. And CSW jumped in and said, no, Bitcoin isn't untraceable. It's a public appended only accounting book where every coin's lineage is carved in granite. That's the whole design. Unspent transaction outputs march from address to address in a bright auditable parade. If the NSA wanted a honeypot, they wouldn't build a glass ledger. They'd build a fog machine. Yeah, absolutely. And the SHA-256 backdoor myth, pure bedtime story. SHA-256 is a public hash function specified in the open, implemented by 1,000 independent teams, pounded on by academic red teamers and bored grad students of 2 decades. A hidden trapdoor in the hash, not a PRNG like the dual EC fiasco. would have been spotted, replicated, and memed to death years ago. NSA touched it, therefore spooky. Please. By that logic, we should bin GPS, AES, and half the internet because someone in the government lab once wore a lab coat near them. Cryptography isn't holy water, it's math. If the properties hold under public scrutiny, pre-image resistance, second pre-image resistance, collusion resistance, then your tinfoil gets retired. Bitcoin's privacy is such as it is, comes from how people use it. Key hygiene, batching, off-chain commerce, and not blurting your address on socials like a digital peacock. Break those habits, and the graph analysts don't need backdoors. They need coffee. They follow timing, change, heuristics, change flows, and human laziness straight to you. So no, there isn't a secret cabal wrapping freedom in chains. There's a very visible ledger, very visible economics, and very visible misunderstandings. If you want mysteries, read a novel. If you want truth, read the white paper, then the code, then the chain. And this guy has probably come up with a sarcastic response. He said, "Sir, I know a ChatGPT response when I see one. One of the giveaways is too many EM dashes for unnecessary reasons any real human would use. Stay in your lane." Oof, oof, oof. And Stigmatism said, best take the L, that's the loss on this one, Ariel. You're talking to Satoshi, which he's laughing at. And he said, yeah, that's the normal reaction, but somehow CSW has weathered the storm and guided the Bitcoin project to become Satoshi's vision as BSV. Fully functional distributed ledger on layer 1, impending Teranode release, 1.1 million transactions a second for starters, chunky patent portfolio, nothing else comes near that. And CSW has said Teranode is live. Yeah. But honestly, the shitcoiners with shit for brains, they will literally be ripping the piss until they're crying their eyes out when they see the block fee and the block reward, and they can't get all of their shit out of that shit coin that the deep state has created for them. That's what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen. Well, that was epic. That was epic. And more of the stuff that CSW has been involved in. He said, responding to this Bitcoin maxi, the term untraceable in my original post refers to the perceived anonymity of transactions, not the technical immutability of the ledger. While the blockchain itself is transparent, the identities behind the addresses are pseudonymous. I wonder if he's just repeating what... yes, he's repeating what CSW has said there. So CSW said, oh, look again. You're offering a banquet of insults and logical tumbleweeds, mistaking volume for substance. It won't make your case any less bankrupt. First, pseudonymity to anonymity, or anonymous. Clinging to perceived anonymity doesn't change the fact that the ledger is public and traceable. Doesn't matter how you feel about privacy. If your address can be unmasked, perception doesn't rewrite reality. Next, your fixation that SHA-256 can be secure because the NSA had a hand in it. That's nothing more than a conspiracy-genic, half-baked reasoning. The algorithms are open by design, tested to pieces by academics, cryptographers, governments, and bored grad students. Yeah, I think that's the one we just... Oh, look at that. CSW is explaining it, and Joel M has just said, cry harder. CSW said, what the hell would I cry about? I'm living in a mansion in paradise. I kayak in the mornings, tend my own farm in the afternoon, and my wife's my own, not a rental from whatever stat agency stocks your dreams. I'm not sure what you imagine should move me to tears. Maybe the onions. Yeah, honestly, these shitcoiners with shit for brains just don't get the difference between anonymity and privacy. Is what CSW is banging on about. There is a chain of digital signatures, which means you can prove who sent what to whom when you find the living man or woman eventually behind a legacy address. And this is why they don't want Satoshi Nakamoto to reveal himself, because all chains of signatures lead back to the Genesis block. If there is a living man or woman behind that Genesis block, then they can start the chain reaction to actually find the living men and women behind the other addresses. That's it. But honestly, well, we know what we're up against anyway. But you know, useful idiots are the some of the cabal's greatest weapons, unfortunately. And there are a lot of useful idiots, unfortunately, but not too many in BSV. Not too many at all, which I'm extremely chuffed about. More back and forth here. So this guy Proletario had said something else you posted: a hidden trapdoor in a hash, not a PRNG like the dual EC fiasco, would have been spotted, replicated, and meme to death years ago. All right, Bear. This is definitely an overstatement on this. While SHA-256 has been rigorously tested, the idea that the hidden trapdoor would be spotted, replicated, and meme to death. Blah, he goes on about that. And again, he's clearly not getting it. He's just, oh yeah, I've had that before. They're going, oh yeah, the NSA created SHA-256, therefore they must have created Bitcoin. Well, look, I'm telling you, like CSW said, they wouldn't have created a transparent ledger. They would have created smoke screens. Because if they had created Bitcoin, they would not have created it with a chain of digital signatures that holds all individuals equally responsible and accountable for how they use the network. And these douchebags just don't get it. Calling them douchebags, CSW said your moronic lack of understanding in how many people have tried to tear this apart, for how long, with how much collective firepower, is exactly the problem here. The algorithm is completely open. Every line of its workings laid bare like a cadaver on a slab. It's taught in lectures halls, from the first fumblings of undergraduates to the obsessive discussions of postgraduates, hammered into minds by professors who've forgotten more mathematics than you'll ever know, and more people with far sharper tools than you have gone at it from every conceivable angle that you have functioning brain cells. If there were a hidden back door, it wouldn't be lurking like some pup's spy novel fantasy. It would have been dragged out, paraded, and stripped of its mystique years ago. Yeah, I mean, people just don't really get what SHA-256 is about. It's literally a lottery. The chances of finding SHA-256 are literally 1 in 2 to the power of 256. It is absolutely enormous. And literally, you can only have one go at guessing SHA-256 at a time. Literally, I mean, look at all the hash power that's on it now, and they still have to sort of keep increasing the difficulty adjustment to make sure that a block is found every 10 minutes. Because if they didn't have a difficulty adjustment, it would probably never be found. It would take thousands of years, probably. Thousands of years. The number is huge. It's really simple. And these people, maybe they don't get it. They're just literally clutching at straws. They're literally clutching at straws. It's just a lottery. It's a digital lottery that enables economic competition in a digital network. That's literally it, in a nutshell, basically. And CSW has responded here to Joel Katz, the CTO of XRP. He said, the sleight of hand dressed up as self-deprecation. Except the tricks go limp. You've taken a crowd with an average IQ that could be outpaced by a houseplant, called that 100, and then bask in the glow of your own inflated number. On the real scale, you're not bragging. A solid century, you're advertising a glorious 37 and acting like it's a coronation. And that was in response to Joel Katz saying, Grok estimated my IQ from my Facebook posts, with 100 being the average Bitcoin man. Grok isn't on Facebook. He's immediately got that wrong. Grok estimated my IQ from my Facebook posts. Dear oh dear. Oh, look, and he's just admitted it there. He goes, oh, sorry, my bad. I meant to estimate from my X posts. I have no idea why I wrote Facebook. Maybe because you're a goon? Bragging about his IQ. And then he finds that he's got that wrong. That's hilarious. That's irony. And Silky Flow said he's so smart he forgot that he was on X and not Facebook. Brilliant. I do love the humour in this space. I love the humour. Right, check this out. So Ziggy said we're doing more transactions per second with Teranode on our laptops than most other networks can do at all. We're testing on our Teranode test networks, the Terra testnet. We will be opening this up in the coming weeks. Let's see what we've got here. So here we go. So this was the 15th of August. What are we looking here? Transactions per second. 178. 263, 166. Remember, that's per second. All right, but I mean, remember they're doing that on their laptops, literally doing it on the laptops, which is huge. And Alex Farvel has responded to that, saying 200 million 200 million transactions in a block is 335,000 transactions per second, generating a 50 BSV reward at 1 sat per byte for 10 minutes. You can pull some hardware together to accomplish it if that's what you can do from a laptop. Sustain it for a difficulty period. The scaling argument is over. As in, literally, the scaling is done and done. The shitcoiners with shit for brains have literally got nothing to come back for. Well, I'd say nothing to come back with. That's it. The scaling argument is over. It is done. He said also, are there plans to have software that can contribute idle time for its hardware to transaction processing? A reimagining of what is a reimagining of what a distributed pool is. Oh, yeah, that would be that'd be really great. It looks like Light has responded saying the system needs to be connected to the work cluster at high speed to make that happen efficiently. High speed and low latency. Oh, I'm loving this. Gorilla Pool has said in the coming weeks, Gorilla Pool will switch mining operations over from SV node to Teranode. So in the coming weeks, are we to suggest that could be under a month? That means that's going to happen before the end of the Kellenschweller countdown. I told you there was going to be shit happening. This is absolutely awesome. He said, we will also be redistributing new developer tools, a Jungle Bus update, overlay tools, a new dashboard for our mining partners, and some secret sauce that we won't hint at yet. But it's going to be bananas. We've just completed a series of upgrades to our internal operations, hired some new staff, humans, apes and robots, and we are going to open up a new chapter with lots of fresh updates. In the interests of that, we have also opened up more space for hosting at 2 of our Midwest hashing facilities. So if you want to get new hardware, the new next-gen equipment from Bitmain is very well made compared to older models. We are excited to help existing clientele and newcomers get into the latest and greatest mining rigs in prep for the Teranode era. We also have a number of existing clients who would love to sell lightly used rigs from the previous generation as part of their upgrade path. So if you're looking for deals on less efficient, less profitable, but reliable hardware, let us know. If you want to get started, send us a message on gorillapool.com. Prices displayed include delivery to our dock, and if you want to forego hookup fees, anyone spending over $6,000 will have connection fees waived. See you in the jungle. Loving that. Loving that. Loving that. Oh, like massively exciting. Massively exciting. And even more exciting news, Degan said the Metanet desktop version 0.60 released. Oh, fantastic. Loving that. Loving that. Far fewer permissions, interruptions. Windows distribution is now signed by a BSV Association certificates, so onboarding should be smoother. I wonder what that's onboarding for. This launch video was generated by VEO3, which I didn't need a subscription for, thanks to Tools or at Tools BSV, the Metanet desktop. Right, follow them. Follow them. Let's have a look at this thing. That looks epic. The video was generated by VEO3, which you didn't need a subscription for, thanks to Tools BSV. Oh, wow, you can generate something like that. That is massive. That's massive. He also says here, metanetapps.com for apps to try out using this wallet. Let's have a look. Oh, what have we got here? Discover amazing apps. secure backup and what is that? Recovery or record. Quick start docs. This allows developers to read code and run the snippets as is, or generate cryptographically secure random keys. Mnemonic. This tool can help you retrieve funds stuck in old BSV wallets. Oh, we'll have some of that. Paymail bridge for registering a Paymail alias and collecting inbound payments. Legacy payments for taking and making payments using traditional Bitcoin something or others. Cool, sir. Get certified as officially cool. Micropayments empowered. Martian weather data for cool people. A Metanet highway. Hop on the Metanet highway for a seamless private way too. There's loads here. Social certs. Oh wow. Oh, Polar, look, on-chain polls. That's going to be massive doing on-chain polls. That could be used for sort of like direct democracy. Website. Active polls, create poll, my polls, complete polls. Oh, I can download that for Windows, Mac or Linux. That is huge. That is huge. Oh my goodness me. Oh wow, I'm going to have to go back and we've got 26 minutes gone already. I'm going to have to go back and read some of this myself. Degan has also said here, look at this music publishing platform built by Project Babbage. Tempomusic.net. To get the full experience, please launch the Metanet client. If you don't have it yet, it's available for Windows, Mac and Linux. Oh wow. Playlist, publish, likes. Ready to publish. Download the Metanet client on Windows, Mac or Linux. It looks like they've done a lot of work on this. Published. Where do we see where do we see Degan just then? What's this? Copy song link. Play. Is there anything there?
In the hands of every open mind, we want honesty, unstoppable, no crime, incorruptible, balanced boardroom, no greed or metal thesis, unfloppable, hashing proof in every block, corrupt, caught, Teranode is up, TPS is building big blocks.
I was not expecting that. That is ace. That is ace. Here we go. Copy song link. Send that one to the lads. That's gonna be fantastic. In fact, you know what I'll do is I will also share that on my profile so anybody else can actually listen to it. Let's see what that looks like. Here we go. Right, let's publish that link. There we go. That's on my feed now. You can click on that and have a listen to that. Excellent, excellent. All right. Oh, that was great. Right, Brian Doherty said here, I'm grateful to the BSV Association for the trust and confidence in appointing me as a global public policy director. This is more than a title change, it's a commitment to advancing lawful, scalable and utility-driven blockchain infrastructure at a time when the policy decisions we make will shape the digital economy for decades to come. We are past the era of speculation. Blockchain is no longer just about tokens, it's about infrastructure for trust, securing data, embedding transparency, embedding verifiable AI, and powering permission-critical systems worldwide. From Washington to Brussels to Singapore, the conversation is shifting to how we design digital public infrastructure that is lawful by design, scalable without compromise, and built for real-world utility. My priority is to ensure BSV is at the table, demonstrating live proof of what's possible when compliance is integrated at the protocol level. The urgency is real. Legislators are defining functional token taxonomies. Stablecoin frameworks are being set in stone. AI governance is moving from theory to infrastructure requirements. We must get this right, not just for industry, but for consumers, institutions, and the public interest. As we engage with policymakers and regulators worldwide, my focus will be to advance function-based regulation and that distinguishes infrastructure from speculation, promote ledger as a disclosure as a new standard for transparency, advocate for federal and global coherence to unlock innovation while protecting markets. The next era of blockchain leadership will be won by those systems that work, prove, and scale. And that's the vision I'm proud to represent every day in this role. Let's build the trust layer for the digital future. Oh, wow. And Alex has said, we need educational videos for YouTube. Brian said, I believe there are many ready to be served up. I would expect a flurry of new content over the next few weeks. Things are cooking. So I've suggested here any videos on the economic fundamentals of the Bitcoin protocol. Again, no response. Like, what the fuck? Like, on it, that's the main thing that people need to know is the economic fundamentals of the Bitcoin protocol. I don't know anybody, you know, in the BSVA or N-Chain when it's around, or the Teranode group, or CoinGeek. There's no one talking about the basic economic fundamentals of the Bitcoin protocol. That's what people need to understand. That's what differentiates Bitcoin from every single shitcoin, from all the shitcoins, because it's the only way to commoditize data. But they're not talking about it. Is that a strategy, or is it a cover-up? Is it conspiracy? Like what? But I would say that that's what needs to be done. Check this out. So Daniel D said here, Adriana D. Kugler submits resignation as a member of the Federal Reserve Board effective 8th of August 2005. Let's have a look at this. Adriana D. Kugler submits resignation as a member of the Federal Reserve Board effective 8th of August 2025. The Federal Reserve Board announced on Friday that Adriana D. Kugler will step down from her position as Governor of the Federal Reserve Board effective 8th of August 2025. Dr. Kugler has served as a governor since September the 13th, 2023, submitted her letter of resignation to President Trump and will return to Georgetown University as a professor this fall. The text of the letter from Governor Kugler is attached. I mean, why is everybody doing this? We had the head of the Crypto Council step down the other day. Now we've got somebody else submitting their resignation as a member of the Federal Reserve Board. Something is fishy. I would say something is very fishy, by the sounds of it. And look at this. I mean, I don't know if this is legit or what, but somebody is just, I mean, who knows if this is the actual Federal Reserve in Washington, but they've said this is the Federal Reserve, look, permanently closed. Yeah, and we've seen some weird things going on. Federal Reserve Bank. Permanently closed. Washington, D.C. You know, wow. I mean, is the fraud being called upon? You know? Because I've heard that they've literally like barricaded it up. That's what it looked like to me. I wonder what's going on. Right, so leaving that, let's get on to this for a little bit of socials. Camus, he said, New Start 2024 is said here. The elites won't tell you this, but the science is clear. A groundbreaking study from the University of Nebraska revealed something shocking. Raising more cows could actually save the planet. Turns out cows are carbon negative. They produce more oxygen than the methane and the carbon they emit. So what's the solution? Eat more steaks, save the world. The climate activists won't like this, but facts don't bend to ideology. Let's see what he says here.
World, right.
There you go. Thank you.
So you'll be reading it, so it's not coming from my mouth. I'm not making it up. But the University of Nebraska just got done with their one of their studies that the way to save the world on carbon is raise more cows.
Okay.
And that's because cows are carbon negative.
Okay.
They produce more oxygen than they put off methane and carbon.
It means to eat more cheeseburgers or steaks,
more
right?
beef.
To save the world.
To save the world, right.
There you go. Thank you.
So you'll be...
Oh, there we go. So now we heard it here. Cows are carbon negative, according to the University of Nebraska and their study. Fascinating stuff. Right, looks like we probably won't have time to go through this article here. I might maybe save that for tomorrow. But it's been an absolutely epic show already. We've got some 365 days of Bitcoin history. It's on the 15th of August, 1871. Albert Pike received a vision which he described in a letter that he wrote to Giuseppe Mazzini, the Italian revolutionary leader and the fellow 33-degree Freemason, dated 15th of August 1871. This letter graphically outlined plans for the 3 world wars that were seen as necessary to bring about the one world order, and we can marvel at how accurately his predicted events have already taken place. I think we've actually got links to the letter here. There's the letter. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the Tsars in Russia and of making the country a fortress for aesthetic communism. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. And the Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. So that's how they're going to try and do it. Cause friction and fighting between the Islamists and the Zionists. Pure evil. Pure evil is what we're encountering there. And then on the here we go, 15th of August. Nearly there. On the 15th of August 1945, there was VJ Day, which we've just celebrated. Victory over Japan Day. Japan's surrender heralded the end of World War II. And again, that was on the 15th of August. So again, you know, all falls into line with Albert Pike's letter to Mazzini. And then after that, on the 15th of August 1971, the Nixon shock. Richard Nixon removed the US dollar from the gold standard and other reserve assets, creating securities fraud as defined by SEC versus W.J. Howico 1946. And then on the 15th of August 2010, the Bitcoin protocol bug caused a hard fork using a peculiar quirk of the way computer process numbers. An unknown person creates a fraudulent transaction that generates... what's this? 184,467,440,737 bitcoins, nearly 9,000 times as many as can legitimately exist in the entire system. The oddity is quickly spotted by Bitcoin developers and community members, and a fixed version of the Bitcoin software is released within hours. But the next day, the correct blockchain overtakes the exploited one. And Bitcoin is back in normal operation, but not before the market is badly shaken. So again, look at this. So they've said it here. But by the next day, the correct blockchain overtakes the exploited one. Yeah, so they caused a fork, and the miners were obviously like following the fork, but the original protocol still existed. Yeah, the miners hadn't followed it. And so, the next day, the correct blockchain, had overtaken the exploited one. And that is what CSW keeps going on about with Teranode. Well, actually, I mean, it's already massively overtaken the exploited one anyway, because we can see it here in the figures. Look at this. This is the figure that he's talking about. There we go. There we go. Look at that. So the yellow one is the exploited one, and this one is the genuine one. It's overtaken it. It would take BTC, that Greg coin securitized one, would take thousands of years to catch up with the genuine Bitcoin chain. But it's the Teranode that's going to bring the block fee onto the network, and all the miners coming over, and they'll be like, well, hold on a minute, this is the longest chain by far anyway, and has been for a number of years, at least since 2021. It's been the longest chain. So this is the one that they should have been following anyway, because it's got the most utility on it, not the most proof of work, the most utility, the most usefulness, because the other chains are shitcoins. They're all economically worthless security offerings. There's no point in using them because they're centrally controlled. That's the whole point. Oh. And then on the 15th of August 2015, a Bitcoin XT fork released. Bitcoin Core developers Mike Hearn and Gavin Andresen released a separate version of the Bitcoin client software called Bitcoin XT. The release illustrates an ongoing controversy in the Bitcoin developer community. What limits should be placed on the size of Bitcoin blocks? Bitcoin XT implements BIP, that's Bitcoin Improvement Proposal 101, which proposes replacing the fixed 1 megabyte. It's not fixed. There's a soft cap. Replacing the fixed 1 megabyte maximum block size with a maximum size that grows over time as a predictable rate. The release of Bitcoin XT culminates fears that the Bitcoin community may not be able to reach a consensus on the issue, and the blockchain may hard fork, resulting in two separate versions of Bitcoin's global ledger. Well, this is what happened anyway in 2017 when they were going on about SegWit. So now we know that it was the deep state of being involved in this right from the beginning, effing it up. And here we go, the 16th of August. So on the 16th of August 1971, so this was the day after the Nixon shock. Nixon orders a 90-day wage price freeze, asks tax cuts, new jobs in broad plan, severs link between a dollar and gold. And that was in the New York Times, published the day after the Nixon shock. On the 16th of August 2010, we got a post here from Satoshi Nakamoto. He said, I suspect there is some difficulty receiving blocks if all the nodes you're connected to are 0.3.9 or lower. We need enough so that at least one node you connect to with will be 0.3.10. The problem will start to go away when we make up more than 1/8 of the network. It'll help if you port forward so you can get lots of connections. And then on the 16th of August 2022, so this is during COVID, they said the 2017 ICOs aren't over yet. SEC files suit against Dragon Chain and its founder. So the ICOs are the initial coin offerings that everybody was doing in 2017, producing the shitcoin market. Right, jeepers. Oh, and look at that, tomorrow's anniversary. On the 17th of August 2008, the domain name netcoin.org was registered. Bitcoin was almost called Netcoin back in the day. Oh, wow. Loving that. Right, there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. That's been a 40-minute throw, a bit longer than I anticipated or wanted it to be, but it is the Kellenschweller countdown. It is now August the 16th. There are 33 days to the end of this countdown, and we've already had all the big guns saying we are now running Teranode. And what was it? Ziggy said or something. They're going to be doing something within the next coming weeks, opening it up within the next coming weeks. So that might mean that they open it up before the end of the Kellenschweller countdown. It's going to be massive. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and never miss a show. Right, we'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed it. And as ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
The king still has one more move.